Hey, Patty. I think I had my tea too late today. So I have a small order to go out tomorrow. So I figure, oh, well, I'm awake. And I had a big order the other day. And so I'm running short. So there you go. Oh, other people. People are awake. Yeah. I wanted to get these out tomorrow. So I figure, hey, let's do it now. And I knew there'd be somebody out there. You guys are all crazy like me. You just got here, Patricia. You're getting sleepy. I'm glad I could help you out. Just stay here a few minutes and you'll be out for sure. I'm doing the one that has a lot of salvage ends. I like doing those. They're my favorite. And since they're salvage ends, I don't do anything straight. I just fill in the gaps. CJ. That's Colorado's name, CJ. I'm sticking myself. Well, we had a storm. Let's see, what's today? Today's Wednesday. Well, no, it's Thursday, I guess. We had a storm come in. Let's see, wait a minute. I'm trying to remember my days. I'm getting confused. Must have been Sunday night. Oh, no. Monday night. I think it was Monday night. And, well, last week we were supposed to get a bad storm, and we didn't get anything. So we were real happy about that. And so then they said, well, we're supposed to be getting another storm, but most of it will be up, up north from us, about 30, 40 miles north of us. So, okay. Well, they were wrong. Fortunately, I was awake. We had a tree that fell in our yard. Well, I shouldn't say a tree. It's a big tree. And so a big giant branch fell off. And it hit a fence that we have dividing the front and the backyard between my house and the studio. And I heard a crack. And we had winds that were, they call straight line winds, and they were up to 70 miles an hour. So a lot of our immediate area lost power and everything. Fortunately, ours just went off and on like 4 or 5 times, but just like for 30 seconds or something. And we're holding our breath. Oh, no, please, no. It's 100 degrees. We have to have our air conditioning. But it all worked out. So today, our trash pickup is tomorrow. Well, today, Thursday. So all day today, we were chopping up tree branches and getting them all ready. How come this is all stuck here? This is a new one and it's not cooperating. All the wrapping is still connected for some reason. Oops, I might have to skip that part. We might have to skip that part. So anyway, so now the yard's all clear. It looks pretty cool. Our tree looks lopsided, but our yard's okay now. Well, that's a mess. Hey, Jennifer, your package is going out tomorrow. It's all packed. Well, it's always been packed, but I put fresh. I had everything in there except for the eco dyed stuff, and so I put in some fresh ones in there. A new batch. And I put a lightweight surprise in there. I weighed it, and it was, I only had like 4 ounces before I would go off into the next amount of postage. So I had to keep it under. So I did. I kept it under like, half an ounce. So I'm going to tell her to breathe in when she, measures the weight tomorrow. I think if she breathes heavy on it, it might go over. Oh, that's crooked. That's okay. We'll work with it. And then today, I don't know why, but I was in the mood to try some soldering. Don't ask me why. Oh, I had some fun. I'll show you what I did in a second. Don't judge. I'm not a solderer. Laura, you're awake. What the heck is going on with these people? I sure hope you don't have to get up early. Well, you're already up. So there. Too much brown. I think I need some pink in here. I need some pink or something. Let's put this. Oh, 6:30. That's good. That's a good time. Get your cup of coffee or tea or something. That's an excellent time. Let me finish this one up and I'll show you my soldering. No, I don't want blue. Green sounds good. And then, oh, a piece of red. Ta-da! Oh, wow. Hole 2 done. Woo-hoo. Okay. Let me put something in the background. Let's put, don't look, Jennifer. It's got some oranges here. This is what I made today. I don't know if you can see it. Is it? I don't think it's focusing. Oh, maybe. Maybe yes, maybe no. And I didn't burn myself or anything. I was so excited. It's supposed to be a peacock feather too. I don't know if that comes across, but here's the little center part, you know, and then that's the feathers going out. Whoa. Anyway, that was fun. I don't know what I'm doing, but that's usually when I have fun, when I don't know what I'm doing. If I know what I'm doing, well, I think all the fun goes out of it. It's like, okay. Like, oh no, look what I did. Oh my goodness. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this right now. Let me put this all the way over there. Yeah, because people will say, oh, I didn't know you knew how to do that. I don't. That's the fun part. I think that's why, too, lots of times when I do a project or learn how to do something, I usually only make one or two, and then that's it. And then I don't ever make it again because I've done it, you know. I'm bored. Let's learn something new now. Yeah, I think the only thing that I make over and over is if I have it in my shop. Other than that, I just go on to something new. Now I need something bright. It's getting boring. It's getting too dull. Ooh. Red with gold. That sounds good. I played with my samples for the different types of stuff that we're going to use when I have the my plaster workshop. My Texas ladies are coming up. They're all excited. So it was a good day because it wasn't, I mean, it was warm, but it wasn't like horribly hot today. It cooled off after the storm, but it was humid because I needed to time. I mean, when I make this stuff, I don't really time how long the stuff takes, so I had to time it so I know the pace I have to keep the class at to make sure we can get things done and dry and assembled and all that. We're going to be cutting it close. So when they get here, I'm going to say, okay, no chit-chatting right now. You gotta start putting this stuff on this stuff, and then when we're done, while it's drying, then we can start chit-chatting and do our other stuff. We gotta put this stuff on so it can dry so we can work with it. Okay. Oh, that came out kind of cute. All right. 85 to go. No, just kidding. Oh my goodness, look at all the people that are here. You guys are awake. All right. So I think I want to put some of this on there. And for those of you that just got here and you go, what the heck is she doing? I am just putting fabric on some double-sided tape that can be used in your journals or card making or wherever you want to put it. Pages, cut them up into tags, whatever it is you want to do with them. They're fun to make and they're fun to use. And I'm doing it the sloppy way because I like to use salvage. Mine are not precise and pretty like most people make it. Laura, are you guys going to live stream portions of the roadshow? I don't know that much about it, but what you guys are doing. At least just to come on and be obnoxious for a little while, you know. Like, na 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 na, we're here and you're not, that kind of a thing. Oops. All right, there's a tiny little sliver there that didn't get covered up. So now I have to cut a little piece in there, which we have many. Let's see. Oh, maybe I'll patch it with this blue. And maybe we won't even see that it was patched. Maybe. Hey. Alrighty. That worked. Can barely tell. There. Very good. Oopsie. Oh. Well, that's cute. Well, I went to a book sale at my library. First day we couldn't go because we had some other storms. Oh yeah, we had a storm before that. Just a few days before. It wasn't a windstorm. We had a rainstorm. And things got flooded really bad. So they even had to cancel the book sale. My street wasn't flooded, but the one over was, and they were getting people out of their homes on rafts, you know, blow up kind of things. It was pretty bad. But we live on a tiny, like a little slope, just enough. It kept us out of the flood zone. And then right after that, 2 days later, 1 day later, 2 days later, we get the wind and the rain. And this town already had it really bad when was that? Back in the spring, I guess it was, when so many places were flooding. We had over 300 homes in this town get flooded. And, you know, those repairs haven't even begun. I mean, they're still fighting with FEMA because the area where it flooded, it was not in a known flood area. So people didn't have insurance. The reason it flooded was that in, where would that have been? Not, let me think. I can't visualize my states. Nebraska, I guess. Some of their levees, they were going to overflow or break or something. So they had to open some other ones downstream, which meant all that water just came rushing toward us. Like, oh, forget those people down there. We don't want to flood the people up here. So let's just flood the people downstream. Thank you. So they didn't flood, but we did. And those poor people didn't have any insurance. This one lady I know, she moved up here after Katrina because her place was all flooded. And she goes, never did I think I'd move up here just for my house to be flooded again. She was so discouraged. She was probably going to move to the desert. And I said, you better watch it. Las Vegas, I've lived there before. They have flash floods. You wouldn't think it, but they have really bad flash floods there. Because there's nowhere for the water to go except down. And Las Vegas is basically in a basin. It's in a hole. They got these little small mountains around it. And whew, so there's nowhere safe. Yes, I probably haven't mentioned it. I lived in Vegas for a while. I know. Where haven't you lived, Rosemary? I don't know. All right. What's that, Denise? Is that a statement or a question about flood insurance? Uh-oh, what happened there? Hey, this whole tape one is goofy. Statement. Well, I'm not sure about where you live, but here in the United States, are you in the United States? I don't want to assume where you are. You're in Florida? Well, all I know is I used to be a year ago. What haven't you been, Rosemary? No. I used to be a mortgage broker, and you cannot get a loan if you what happened with this tape? This got messed up. You cannot get a mortgage loan in a flood zone unless you get flood insurance. A mortgage company, will not mortgage you. So you have to get flood insurance. They have flood zone maps and everything. And so what the heck is going on here? Now that thing isn't, uh-oh, this is all messed up. Oh, what is going on? Hey, I got to figure out what's going on with my tape because it's like it's rolled up backwards. Uh-oh. I got a faulty tape here. What is going on? Let me see. It's got something on the front and the back. There's no... Oh, boy. Even in Hawaii, where there's a volcano, because that's... Oh, I did mortgages there also. Forget the flood zone. If you're in the lava zone, if you're living, oh my goodness, look what this thing is, all upside down and backwards. Wait, I'm having real problems here. It's exposed on the wrong side. All right, let me see what's going on here. Let me cut this so I can at least use this. If you lived at, they had lava zone maps, and we had 1, 2, up to 4. And if you wanted a mortgage, and if you lived in lava zone 2, you couldn't get a mortgage unless you got lava insurance. And then on lava zone 4, they wouldn't give lava insurance at all, which meant you could not get a mortgage. You had to do private contracts with owners. You couldn't get a bank involved because they wouldn't loan. And then some insurance company in England decided, hey, we'll take a chance. We'll give you a mortgage. I mean, we'll insure you. So that's how some people started in the certain lava zones were able to buy, property and get construction loans and things like that, because there was a company in England that was insuring them. It was pricey, but still they were able to get insurance. So they were happy about that. Yeah, I know people go, oh, there's tornadoes and there's this and there's that. How would you like to live on a lava zone? I live in a lava zone. I could see the glow of the volcano out of my bedroom window. It was the most exotic, beautiful thing. If you didn't think about it, it was just gorgeous. You would just see this glow. It's a red glow on the wall. It was pretty cool. Oh yeah, that was awful, Kathleen, what you guys had over there. Fortunately, in Hawaii, well, they have two different kinds of volcanoes. They have the ballistic kind, which the Mount St. Helens was a ballistic kind, and then you have these others that I call them burping volcanoes. They're just constantly flowing. They don't have that buildup, so they don't have those explosions that some of the volcanoes have. So the volcano over on the Big Island of Hawaii, it was just, one that just kept flowing and flowing and flowing. And it had a continuous flow, oh my goodness, since the 60s, I think. And, it didn't do any harm to anything. Well, then last year, was it last year? I think it was last year. They started noticing that I had already left. I wasn't living there anymore, but I still have a lot of friends there. So they were telling me, oh, have you been watching the news? Because sometimes I would watch the local news over there just to keep up on all the gossip. And I said, no. And they said, well, they've noticed that the cone, because there's a big cone in the national park, the Lava National Park. I mean, it's gigantic, like a crater. And let's say this is the crater, and then maybe visually, like down here is where the lava is, right? And this is all built up from other types of flows. Well, you could see the molten rock, the lava that was there. And they would test it and they would measure it with all the little gizmos and stuff. And that's how they could tell kind of the activity, what was going on underneath. And then there's these tubes that go underneath the ground and they pop up in various places. And right now, the one that was flowing, it was flowing into the ocean on the southern end of the island. So this bubbly that was going on in all these intricate tunnels under the ground that's been created through the lava pushing and doing stuff. If you imagine, if you look at the side of an ant farm and you see all those little places where they've dug around and all the little trenches, well, that's kind of how the earth is, especially where there's active volcanoes. So anyway, so it was always coming out and they would watch this. Well, I guess it's been now maybe about a year and a half ago, they started seeing this thing lowering and then going up and then lowering and then going up. And they're going, holy moly, what's going on? Because since the time they've been observing it, it had never done anything like that. Well, what ended up happening was, let's say here's the volcano. Here's where it's coming out into the ocean. And over here is like where everybody lives, and this is the coastline over here. And here is a bunch of like tracks. This is where people live, right over here. Well, right here, one morning, poof, lava started coming out. Because remember, there's tunnels everywhere. You don't know where it's going to pop up. And for whatever reason, it popped up here, stopped here. This thing started going down. And this over here destroyed all of these homes in those lava zones that I was talking about before. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And it just popped up and flowed, and all these beautiful homes that were on the coastline gone, these tide pools gone, these surfing spots gone, fishing places gone, and the lava just flowed and flowed for almost 9 months, destroyed everything. And now the coastline's different, because it pushed way out into the ocean. And now this thing over here, now the scary part, because we're talking about the kinds that explode, the scary part is that the lava went all the way down. They couldn't even see it. And now they're starting to see water starting to build up in here. Well, when the water hits the lava, because they're not sure where the water's coming in, where the lava is, but right now the water is above the lava in some kind of a tube somewhere. But if that lava starts to come up or that water goes down and meets up with the lava, kaboom. That's the only thing that can happen. Kaboom. So now they have no idea if and when the kaboom's going to happen. So don't tell anybody if they're going on vacation to Hawaii. They may not want to go. Just don't go to the park. Well, no, the park's closed. I forgot because of all the stuff that happened. There was so many earthquakes there. It completely destroyed the visitor center in the park. So, but anyway, so what was I talking about? Oh, insurance. That was all. See how I get carried away? I go from one conversation into National Geographic, and all we were doing was talking about insurance. Leave it to me. Okay, now I do not know what happened with this tape. One side has the cover, one side doesn't. It's just totally messed. I think they gave me like the end of something. I mean, it's just totally goofy. I don't even know if I can make any more. Oh, now see, even here, there's no front or back. It's just the tape. I can't use that. Holy moly, what did they give me? And this stuff is not cheap. Oh, man. Okay, here we go. Maybe it's starting to get normal on this section. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. That was goofy. All right, so this all has to get thrown away. Oh, let's see how much is messed up. Okay. Uh-oh. You know, I think I need to get my money back. This is totally messed up. Okay, well, the tape stops being sticky there, so this will just have to be a long one. Look, look. That is so weird. Ugh. I don't think I even want to do this anymore. What a mess. Okay, this is not fun. They totally messed this up. Good night. I hope you can rest. All right, I don't want that. Oh, I saw someone mention kawaii. Kawaii is beautiful. Did you take the helicopter ride? There's those parts of Kauai that you just cannot see except from the air, and then go out into the ocean and come back and look at it. It's just so beautiful. The Poly Coast, you know. Let's see. Okie dokie. Okay, what other crazy stuff have I done? Let's see. I know there's some other crazy stuff I've done. Scotty! Scotty's awake. Well, Scotty, this is not carpet tape per se, but people do use carpet tape. I think you can pretty much use any hefty double-sided tape and it will work. And put this and then cut it off. Yeah, Laura uses carpet tape and she's very successful with hers, so I wouldn't hesitate using that. I think you have to be careful what brand of carpet tape, because some carpet tape is kind of mushy, like it's thick, and then your stuff doesn't lay well when you go to put it, like on your whatever you're going to use it for, your journals or pages or whatever. You have to make sure that it's thin, or else it looks like you used carpet tape. It gets a little two-dimensional. Oh, see, Laura got hers at Home Depot. My favorite place. Any hardware store. My favorite place. You got to come over, Scotty. See when you feel up to it. Okay, so now let's see what kind of goofiness this tape has for me. Man, oh man. It's pretty crazy. I am trying to figure out, I have a bunch of stuff I need to get rid of, because like when I get something because I like it and I use it, like I say, I'll use it a couple of times when it, like fabric or paper or something, and then I'm ready to move on and try something new. So I got to figure out some packages and how to package it, and make it affordable. But I just want to throw, I almost just want to throw like everything together, but I know people don't like that. Some people want just fabric, some people want just paper, some people want just this, just that. But like when I make my flow bundles, I like making those because I do throw just everything in it. It's just kind of a free-for-all. So I'm thinking I might do that. I don't know. Either way, it's a lot of work, but I can't justify getting other stuff if I haven't used all that stuff up. So, at least in my own head, I can't. And then there's the room factor, because I do have workshops here, so it isn't like I can just keep piling it up everywhere. I actually have to have room for people. That little annoying thing, people. They actually have to have a table to work on and be able to walk. You know, those little annoying things. Hey, Joanne's fabric. That's cool. All right. I bet you guys can identify this fabric. Come on, who can identify it first? Yep, you got it, Laura. Yeah, get yourself some tape, Scotty, and come on over and just start ripping up this fabric. You'll have fun. I'm not a big candy person unless it's chocolate. But when my last had my last workshop, the ladies went down to the local the market downtown, and they bought me this homemade toffee. It's actually pretty good, but it's kind of noisy, so don't complain when you hear me crunching it. See how long it's lasted? It was like, when were they here last? A month ago. You can see I don't eat a lot of candy. Now, if it was chocolate, there wouldn't be anything left. That would have been gone in a day. I do not lie. Oop, I did that a little too small. A little too narrow. My husband likes dark chocolate. I don't like dark chocolate. Give me an old, regular old Hershey bar. I'm happy. He goes and gets those, highfalutin dark chocolate bars with all these goofy kind of things. But it's funny though. He can, because they don't have, excuse me, they don't have a lot of sugar in them. And he was recently diagnosed, like get under control. Your sugar's too high. So he's managed to get them all under control. But he can eat that dark chocolate because it has hardly any sugar in it. So good thing he likes that one already because he doesn't feel deprived. Now, if he liked the one I like, which is 99.9% sugar, he'd be in trouble. Yeah, Kathleen, that's what my husband likes. He's a hoity-toity chocolate eater. He's like, what, 98% cocoa. Probably just a little bit of some kind of fat in there to keep it all together. Let's see what else. I needed some other colors. Ooh, purple. Hello. Don't look, Laura. That's what my husband says, Jennifer. He goes, oh, that's just too sweet for me. Good. More for me. It's funny. I don't hardly eat cake, mainly because I don't like frosting because that's sweet. If I make brownies, I don't put any frosting on them because I like to taste the brownie. Even if I were to put, chocolate frosting, I don't like it. It tastes too sweet to me. And I make chili brownies. I'm getting excited just thinking about it. And I don't want the icing on those. It's funny, I have a sweet tooth, but if the cake has frosting, I either won't eat it or I'll take all the frosting off. And it isn't that I don't like sweets, I just don't like that kind of sweet. Yeah, that's good to have somebody around that likes the frosting, and then you just give it to them and everybody's happy. My husband's not a frosting person either. So that works out well. It isn't like he thinks it's weird that I don't want to put frosting on stuff. And it's funny though, he says it's too sweet just like I do. But he'll eat about the only thing that's really, really sweet that I think I won't even eat because to me that's too sweet is like pecan pie, depending where you live. To me, that's just sugar and nuts. And he likes that. That's way too sweet. Woo. Give you a sugar headache. Hmm. Ooh, pretty glue. Now, one thing I do like that's very sweet is a Latin cake. You might, some of you, depending on where you live, you might have had it. It's called tres leches. That stuff is sweet. Just thinking about it. But I love it. It is super duper good. And again, even though I like chocolate, I'm not into like hot fudge sundaes because the chocolate part's just too sweet. I'd rather have just chocolate ice cream without all the goopy stuff. And when things come and have whipped cream, I take the whipped cream off. I'm not into whipped cream either. Now, when I drink my coffee, I have like 1 cup a day. I have it in the morning with my breakfast. And I do put, sweetener, like the creamer is sweet, I do like my coffee sweet. And I like my tea sweet. So give me somebody asked me if I would come back on next Saturday and teach something, to make something together. But they didn't say what, and I don't know what. What would you guys, something that could be done, like in a couple hours. What would you guys like to make or learn how to make or learn how to do? And if I know how, maybe we can do it together. And if we know what it is, then we can have the stuff already on hand. So if you want to do it at the same time, at least we have the stuff ahead of time. I'm just throwing it out there, see if you guys have an idea. Because it's one thing watching a tutorial, on YouTube, but, you can't ask a person a question. And then by the time they do answer your question, you even forgot why you asked it. And you know how that goes sometimes. So maybe real time, you'd actually learn a little bit more. That's cool. Let me put some of this. Whoops, it's getting hot over there. Yeah, you guys are talking about food so much. I'm getting hungry too. Notice I reach for the toffee. Well, Denise, that's hard for me to say because I have so many interests. I really do. And it may not be things other people are interested in. So that's why I thought, well, what are you guys? You know, there might be a majority that want to learn XYZ, and then, you know, it depends at what level all of you are at, or if you're new to all of this stuff, or you've been around and you're looking to learn something totally new instead of something rehashed, you know. Hey, Donna. Okay, there's that. How many do I have? Almost there. Almost there. Donna, I am making fabric tape with double-sided tape, and then I'm putting fabric on it. I sell it in my shop, and I was running low, and then I got 2 orders that kind of wiped me out, and then I got another order, so I had to make some. So you won't think I'm a slacker. Let's get some stuff from the bottom. Ooh, some more purple. Oh, that's cool. dot. Polka dot. You're interested in plaster and gilding. Oh, well, my plaster and gilding, because that is really takes a long time. You know, it couldn't be just done in that short period of time as far as the gilding. The plaster, I'm putting together a workshop already. That's in the works because that's also quite, you know, involved. Very involved. All of them are, to tell you the truth. That's why I was saying when the ladies come for the workshop, it's like, shut up, put the stuff on. We got to get that on. We don't have time to talk. Boom, boom, boom. Because that will take us, I mean, it'll literally take us all day long. And the gilding, that might be something easier, except the problem with the gilding, because, you know, that I could, well, there are a lot of steps, a lot of stages, a lot of drying time, a lot of sanding. The thing would be, though, is that the stuff you need aren't things you have on hand. You probably have to buy almost everything. As far as just, you know, just doing it here with everybody, I don't think most people would have the stuff. It doesn't mean you can't do it. If there's people that want to, they can get, I'll give them a list of stuff you need to get in advance. But again, we couldn't do that in one night either at all. Because even that crazy envelope box we made, we had to do that in 2 separate nights. But that's not a problem, you know. You can have part A, part B. I have no problem with that. Hey, Megs. Okay. Yeah, Donna, are you just wanting to know how to make a book from scratch? Is that what you want to do? Or you're, because we could definitely do something like that. Would you want to do the make the book from scratch, or would you want to alter a book and then like to prep it to put your own stuff into it, because there's a lot of different ways to approach making a journal. They're all kind of fun, you know. It's just a matter of aesthetics, you know, what you're envisioning. Because, you know, as many people as you say the word journal to, probably something else different comes to mind to everybody. What they think of when they think of a journal, especially a family one. That's kind of special. Yeah, from scratch. That'd be fun. Now, did you want the inside to be like pretty papers, or are you going to just use anything and you're eventually going to glue things into it so it doesn't matter how pretty it is? Or how do you envision the inside before you actually start putting your memories in it? I'll show you a fake family one I made. I made a couple of these for a friend, and I usually make one extra. And this one is like a made up family for a real person, but tea stain papers. Okay, let me. All right, like for instance, oops. Make sure I don't knock everything over. Like for instance, this one. Let me get this out of the way. This one here was made out of cardboard. All right. And when you look at journals to purchase and, you know, downloads and stuff, there's very little that is for African Americans or for Asians or for Hispanics. You know, it's usually the people pictured in them, you know, are basically white people, right? So I wanted to make something special for her without white people, because she has no white people in her family. So so I made this. I made one just like this, but a different color for her. She likes green. So but this is made out of cardboard, and then and then what? Oh, this is like right here. This stuff behind here is manila folder. And so, you know, we've all got that stuff. And then inside, I put all kinds of papers that, you know, you could always write on or you could glue on. And I only made, you know, a few pockets so that, you know, things could be added in if they wanted to, and something to write on in the pocket. And I got some photos and put them on some, I think these were supposed to be recipe cards or something, and I just cut the recipe part off. And so I got these pictures and I printed them out and I gave them names. Family she didn't know she had. And so this is basically just regular copy paper. And it's just been coffee or tea stained. So if you've made little pockets, and these cards would be blank, and then you could start gluing onto here whatever memories you want about your family or stories, and glue it onto, you know, pages like there, and create some little pockets. And these would be blank where you could glue and write on. So that might be something you might want to consider, something like this. And you could just add and add and add. I think the key thing when you're making a journal that you're actually going to use is not to put a lot of printables in there, and not to put a lot of, you know, printed scrapbook paper and things like that. Keep it really neutral so that the stuff that you want to put in there will be the highlight. That'll be the stuff that you look at and people see, as opposed to all the other frou-frou stuff, you know. And just put, you know, a couple of pockets, maybe in each signature, to stick something in that, you know, maybe some real ephemera, you know, from your family or things you do together or something like that. But otherwise, just keep it kind of simple. So, you know, we could make something like this. It might take 2 sessions, you know, to put it all together. Oh, and you can make a little thing to put little notes, or like when you meet up with family, maybe they could all like sign it like a little yearbook with a little note to you or something. And so it's pretty empty by, you know, most people's standards. Usually there's also full of stuff. You can't even see the pages, you know. And then you could put a pocket back here or something to put stuff in. Let's see, how many signatures does this have? This has 1, 2, looks like 3 fat ones. Let me see. Let me see. 1, 2. Yeah, 3 fat ones. Let's see how many pages in each one. It's a little, I would probably put less so that you have room to put a bunch of junk in here, you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so there's 12 pieces of paper, and they're folded. So 12, 24, 48. 48 sides to each one. So there's like 150 sides in here. So if you want that much, you might want the spine to be a little bit bigger. So, because see, it's already stuffed. So, and you haven't even put your personal things in there yet. So I would either make this wider or maybe have 1 less signature. I have 3 signatures, but I'd have less pages per signature. And I think that would work out. Okay, so basically what you guys need to do is figure out the size of your journal that you're wanting to make. Let's, just as a reference, let's see what the size this is. This is 9 1/4 by 6 1/4, and it's 1 3/4 inches, the spine. Now that's pretty big. When you think of 1 3/4, that's, you think, oh, that's kind of small. But this is a pretty chunky, big size, what I would call a big size journal. So anyway, you need to decide, and some of you may want to do it completely from scratch, which means, get the cardboard and we'll put it together. Or you may want to use a book that we just gut. You guys decide what you want to do, because it doesn't, you can always, all of you can do it something different. It doesn't have to be the same. I can address both of those at the same time. But so you need to do that, and then find, a bunch of papers, and they don't have to be coffee stained. Like the one, I don't know if you saw the one that I made for Laura. Those, I used a lot of scrapbook paper that I put gesso over them. So when you put the gesso over them, some of those colors still come through, and it looks, a little old-fashioned like, because you've got the gesso over it. But then you have all those spots where you can write, or you can glue, or you can put your pictures or whatever. So the pages themselves don't have to be blank. You can just blank them out with some gesso, and it gives it a nice, cool look and a feel. I like the feel. I'm into the texture of stuff. And so when you put the gesso on there, it feels good too. Or you can, if you have a bunch of coffee stained papers, you can use those. If you have scrapbook paper you want to get rid of, but you like it, but you're not that much, coffee stain those. It's going to enrich it and make it look kind of old-fashioned. And I think one of these here, yeah, you can't see it too much, but this paper right here is scrapbook paper, but I coffee stained that, so it gives it a different, feel and look. So you guys think about it. That's been coffee stained. And that one too. So, yeah, get your papers together, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be nice, pretty paper. It can be whatever you want, because if you're going to, it sounds like basically what you're talking about is a glue book, because you're just going to glue in family stuff and maybe jot down some things, and maybe have family members write in it or something. So you just want some surfaces that, you can add stuff to. It sounds like, I don't know. So cardboard and paper, glue, and if you're new to all this, you need to get a nice thick needle, for the sewing. With if you have embroidery floss, you can use that. If you have wax linen, that's probably the best. But I'm a great believer, use what you got, because you may only use it once. And you can use really any kind of cardboard. I don't think it really matters. And the books, if you want to use a book, we can use a book. And if after you put it together, let's say you're the kind of person that says, oh, I don't want to coffee stain all this stuff, or maybe you just don't have the time to do it by the time we start. I have actually coffee stain stuff after the journal has already been made. Don't freak out. And it's real simple. It isn't like you have to dunk it into anything. All I do is I get a brush. I mix the coffee, and I get a brush, and I literally just brush it on the page lightly. I make the brew dark so I don't have to put a lot on, and I just like paint it on and turn it over and paint it on. It's not going to stick together because it's just water. It's just coffee, and sit it outside, and it's dry in no time. In this heat, if it's wintertime, I mean summertime where you are. So don't let the time constraint say, oh, I don't have time to do that, so I guess I can't make it. No, you can make it, and you can always stain it afterwards. You won't hurt anything. I will show you how to do it. And I don't, everyone has their technique, but my techniques for everything is like no stress technique. So when it comes to do my papers, like coffee dyeing or whatever kind of dyeing I do, I throw everything in a tub. One of those things that you get like at the dollar store, the Dollar Tree, and a regular sheet of copy paper fits in there. And I put 10, 12, throw some coffee in, 10 or 12 more, throw the coffee in. And sometimes I'll do over 100 pages like that. And during the summer, I just go sit it outside. It's so hot. It soaks it up and starts to evaporate. And oh, what did I do? When did I do? Oh, I stopped in the middle of that. And before you know it, those things are dry. And it's taken really no time out of your life. You don't have to go and bake every single one, take it out. I mean, that'll take you days to do all that. This other way, I think, you probably put a total of 5 minutes into it, throw it outside, forget about it, and then your papers are all done. And because they've sat in it, they get, really rich colored, and because you have them out in the sun, practically baking in the sun, they get all nice and crispy. And you haven't really had to put any time into it. Hi, Gina. I don't know about these ladies. I came on because, I was just wide awake, and I was going to do this during the day today. And then I thought, let me just go ahead and do it. Let me see who's awake. I couldn't believe it. These crazy ladies. They're crazy like me. Some people already took a nap. Some people it's already morning for them the next day. Or night. I'm too confused. Oh, look at that guy. He's got a kitty cat. Huh. I might have to save that for something fun. I want to make a doodle book. I want to make a watercolor doodle book. That's what I want to do. So maybe at some point you guys will want to do that with me. With all this copyright controversy, I'm telling different people, make your own stuff. We need to get back to making our own stuff. And then we don't have to worry about all that. It's real simple. So I thought if we made a watercolor doodle book of our own and then printed those pages to put in our own journals, how cool would that be? And when I say doodle, I mean, if you look up on Pinterest, now we're not going to print those out. These are inspirations. If you go to Pinterest and type in like tree doodles, for instance, or flower doodle, there's all kinds of cool, simple, almost, childlike doodles. But if you make those doodles, like look at it, don't photocopy them, just use them as your inspiration for your doodle if you're not, able to doodle on your own. And then come back with watercolor and just, because you've already made the shape. It looks so cool. It looks like you know what you're doing, even when you don't. And then I imagine those being printed out. For your own page. And how cool is that? You've got your own art. You've got your own paper. Nobody can tell you nothing. And you've got a unique piece that nobody else has. I think that would be wonderful. Well, if you got a huge stash, I say put all that stuff together and let's just make journals. Make a journal and give one to everyone you know, even if they don't even know what a journal is. What's this? Well, let me show you, you little whippersnapper, what you can do with this. I mean, who doesn't like to glue? I think it'd be cool if you, if you were making a blank journal for somebody, I would do a couple of pages for them. If you think it's going to be a glue book, I would glue, make a nice, pretty spread and show them, look, this came from this magazine and that magazine. And if you know the person's interest, those pages can reflect whatever their interest is, if it's cooking or travel or animals or whatever. And then like when I sell my glue books, I include a package of stuff to glue in it because some people really don't have a stash at all. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to get it. They're just kind of like frustrated. So I give them the whole kit and caboodle. When I sell the glue books, they get a big stash of stuff to glue in it. And I get a really good feedback. They go, oh, wow, I never thought of putting that. And I didn't think you could blah, blah, blah. Yeah, exactly. So when they have it in their hands, you know, just like with us, we get things in our hands and that inspires us. And then after that, they're crazy ladies. They're gluing everything. I got this new pen that I saw somebody using. Got to remember who it was. But I think this is going to be a really fun pen. It's a, um, is it chrome? I think it's chrome. It is so shiny. Oh, it's like a paint pen, you know, but it looks chrome when it comes out. It's so shiny and pretty. Ooh, but that peacock fabric. Look how pretty. It's pretty. I made steak tonight. And we have 4 dogs. They're well mannered, I must say. But they got real cozy with us while we were eating. Before you knew it, they were leaning up on my knee, giving me their eyes like, oh, I'm so pathetic. Why aren't you thinking of us? So we had to give in at the end. Once we were all done, they always have to wait till we're done. And 2 of them are Rottweilers. So even when they're being gentle, it's like, oh my gosh, get the fingers out of the way. Well, the little guy, well, the 2 Rottweilers, they're just sitting there with their sad puppy eyes looking all pathetic. And then the little mutt guy, he comes over. He's got it down pat. He comes over. He's not a barker. He doesn't, you know, he's very quiet. And he'll come over and with his little paw, as gently as he can, he comes over on my knee and he goes like that and just looks at me. That's all he does. And then when I don't pay attention for 5 minutes, he'll put his paw down and then he'll put it back up. And that's supposed to be, hey, Ma, where's the steak? I'm missing everything. I'm not watching what's going on. I think I need some water. All the dust from this fabric. Why don't you make a Kathleen, why don't you make a cloth journal and use up a lot of that lace that's in the bin. Cloth journals are fun to make too, and you could use up a lot of that. Yeah, Rottweilers are very sensitive too. They're very attuned, and they're very intelligent and very they want they require a lot of attention. All of our dogs are rescue dogs, so they're even like more needy. Who knows what happened to them? When we got the female, the lady at the rescue place, she knew us from some other dog that we had gotten from her, and so she asked us to come down and look at it, and they had she's known around the area for really loving Rottweilers, so they contacted her because they were going to put this dog down because the place where the shelter where the dog was, it was all a voluntary type situation, and the ladies there were literally afraid of the dog, and she wasn't getting fed properly because they were afraid to get in there. It wasn't getting cleaned up. It was just a mess. And I don't blame them. They're not used to it. And, Rottweilers have a reputation. And so they're not professionals, they weren't equipped. And so they were getting ready to put it down. And somebody found out about that and said, oh, you need to contact so and so because, she rescues Rottweilers. So she got the dog and had it for like maybe about, she likes to keep them for at least a month or so that they can acclimate, and she doesn't know what they've been through or if they've been abused and stuff like that. So once she thinks that mentally they're in a healthy place, then she tries to find them a home. So that's when she contacted us, and so we go down there and I see that dog and I'm going, I don't think so. She looks like she wants to eat me. I don't think so. But obviously, we ended up bringing her home. And that was interesting. We had other dogs when we brought her. So that was that was an interesting time. We already had one Rottweiler that we had rescued, and they got along just fine. One was a girl, one was a boy, so they weren't in competition. They were friendly. They got along. But one thing that was unique about her that I didn't know at the beginning, she scared me half to death. I finally figured out that when she did this growl, it wasn't really like what you think of as a growl. It was more, I guess, like a groan, a happy groan. It was a happy sound. And she'd come over close to me and I'd be petting her, and then she'd go like that. And the first time she did that, she scared me to death. I thought she was going to bite my head off. Like, what is she mad at me? So I just got up and slowly walked away like, okay, everything's okay. And then she'd come after me and want to be friendly. And I thought, okay, well, maybe this dog's schizo or something. And And then finally, I figured out that was just her happy sound, And she was probably wondering why I was getting all freaked out when she was so happy. But anyway, when my husband was convincing me, because at that point we had how many dogs at that particular time? I'm trying to remember. I think we had I'm trying to remember if we had 3 or 4. Because one of my dogs we had to put down he had cancer, and I'm trying to remember. I think we had just put down the dog with the cancer, and that's why Richard was considering getting another dog, and I didn't want another dog. I did not want to go through that. We had already another dog we'd had for about 8 years, and we had to put that particular dog down because his kidneys just started, shutting down, and had to put that dog down, which was not fun. And then another dog we had rescued was a pit bull, and he started getting sick. We found out he had cancer and ended up having to put him down. He was a rescue dog too. I don't know how old he was. We had him for about 9 years. So, I was like kind of fussing and telling my husband, I don't want to go through this anymore. We're not getting another dog. I'm not putting myself through all this. So when she called about the Rottweiler, and then I found out that it was female, I said, okay, the only way we're going to get this dog is if I get to name the dog. He goes, what? I said, yep, we're going to name her Kitty. He goes, Kitty? I said, yep, I've always had this fantasy of having a big old dog and saying, here, kitty, 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 kitty. And then this big old giant dog coming around. So he says, okay. So her name is Kitty. So when we go to the vet, and they'll call and say, oh, bring Kitty in. And people are waiting for some kind of a cat, right? And we get up with this Rottweiler. They go, what? A kitty? And if you guys ever have an animal that has cancer and they offer to give him treatment and you're not sure, my personal experience, I will never do it again, because most animals will not survive cancer, because by the time an animal displays illness, it's really, really sick. The animals, just by nature, they can hide their illnesses for a long time. So by the time you notice something and then you get tested for it, it's really far gone. And we did the doggy chemo stuff, and we thought we were doing the right thing. And looking back, we weren't really doing it for him. We were doing it for us. because he was sick, even though he was on the medications and everything, he was still sick. So I told my husband, after we ended up having to put him down anyway, and he was sick the whole time, it wasn't like he ever got well. And I told my husband, nope, I'm never doing that again. You had a happy, long life. Just, let him go to sleep. So if you ever, are, fighting with yourself, should I, shouldn't I? Just ask yourself, what's going to be the quality of that animal's life, even though, you're trying to give him a second chance. What is his quality of life? And then make a decision based on that, Especially if it's an older animal, and it's had a good life, and, you rescued it, and, you know what you did for the dog already, so you don't need to feel guilty. That's just my opinion. I like all these numbers. Ta-da. Da, da. Yeah, after we ended up putting down the dog, then about, I don't know, maybe it was around 6 or 7 months later, we had a Rhodesian Ridgeback, and she was already about 16, and she had been, pretty healthy, and the last year of her life, everything just started becoming weak. She was getting older, and it was hard for her to get up and down and go around, but she did. She had a good attitude, and she still, every once in a while, she'd grab a toy and play with it, even though you knew she was in pain. She still knew how to have fun, and she was very vocal. She was always, I called her Scooby-Doo because she was always talking to you, because she'd come over and she'd go, whoa, 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 I'm going, okay, Scooby, what are you saying? And then when she had a cute little sense of humor, because when she did something wrong or she got in trouble, she had this little shyness about her where she'd walk away like, oh shucks, And so at the end, she just completely lost. Whoops, I did that wrong. She completely, there's a name for it, I can't remember what it is right now, but she completely lost all of control of her like her muscles, her motor skill, and her legs just went out from under her. And so we took her into the vet. We wasn't sure what was going on, and the vet said, she's got blah blah blah, whatever that was, and that she's in a lot of pain. Well, she never acted like it. She never cried. She never, nothing. And she just put up with it until she couldn't walk anymore, until she lost all her motor skills. So we didn't even know that she was in that pain for quite a while. Or else, we'd at least given her painkillers or something, But, once the doctor said, she's in a lot of pain, and we knew she wasn't going to be able to walk. I mean, she lost completely. And she was a big dog. It wasn't like she was a tiny little dog we could carry around or something. She was a 100-pound dog, So that was after we tried to keep the cancer dog alive. So we said, nope. And the doctor says, well, that's the best. She is in a lot of discomfort. So, we felt good about our decision because of what we'd already been through. So, I mean, we weren't happy, but we felt good about our decision. And that's when I said, I'm not getting any more dogs. I can't take this. Oh, I'm running out of the cute little stuff. Let's see. Oh, Kathleen, your husband sounds like my husband. I do not have a home anymore. I had to move into a studio over here. We have an old home that is, it's over 100 years old. We completely redid the house. Went in and ripped out carpets and ripped out, yucky tile from, who knows, 1960. I don't know, off the floors and all kinds of stuff. Redid the floors. They were beautiful. You come into my house today, you wouldn't even know I had done anything to that. It's just their house now. They have ruined my floors. My floors look like they need to be redone. I wouldn't believe it. And he just keeps bringing them. One time, because my husband does a lot of work with some rescue places here in our community. And there was this dog they needed a home for. And I said, you and your second wife can have as many dogs as you want. But as long as you're with this one, 4 is our limit. Because we weren't talking about a small dog either. I mean, they're all gigantic. And did I mention they're all indoor dogs, okay? And they're all spoiled rotten. Now, the only thing I do put my foot down on, and my husband agrees, is none of our animals have ever been allowed on our furniture. I mean, I refuse to give up everything to the animals. So they've always had their own pillows, their own, big beds. And that's always been enough for them. They're happy that they're laying on something nice and comfy. So I at least have clean couches and clean beds of our own. They're not. I had to have something that was mine. Oh, you have kitty cats, Josie? I think they're probably so much easier to take care of, aren't they? They're a lot more independent, that's for sure. And they're smaller. And they got a mind of their own. They just do whatever they want to do. Oh, and a Labrador. Well, that's not a small dog. I love labs, especially those chocolate labs. I think they're so pretty. Don't tell my husband. We'll want to bring one home. Okay, ladies, so we decided on making a journal, right? Is that what we decided? Is everybody in? Oh, that's very noble, Josie. But if you foster, just realize every foster, I think, fails. You end up adopting them. It's kind of hard to let them go once you've let them in the house, unless it's just like kittens that have been abandoned. But if they're already a grown up animal, and they sucker you in so fast. The one dog we have that I call the mutt, um, he was born out on the railroad tracks. There was feral dogs out there, and um, through one of the rescue people, I can't remember all the details now, but they were made aware of this dog that had 4 puppies. So it became my husband and these 2 other ladies. It was their calling to get these dogs, these puppies, and find them a home. Well, they ended up, I think there was, now I can't remember now to tell you the truth, it was 3 or 4. But anyway, they got all of them but one. And one of the ladies, she was fostering them, and found them some, I forget how long she kept them. We weren't sure how old they were, but they were already you know, at least 3 months old when they got them. They'd been trying for about a month to get them. And finally I told them, because they put a cage out there, a trap, all kinds of stuff. And they were feeding them all the time. And finally I said, you know what? You need to stop feeding those animals for at least a day. Just give them water and let those little puppies get hungry for a day. And then put the food in the cage and you'll get them. So that's what they ended up doing, and they got them, except for one. And he just, it took about another month and a half to get that very last one. And they were afraid they just weren't even going to get him, because he was a smart guy. He was doing everything to avoid them. That was for sure. And so anyway, they finally got him. He was living under, okay, well, like I say, it was over by the railroad tracks. And there was an area where people were dumping stuff, illegally. And one of the things that they dumped was a big pile of broken up a concrete slab, like a driveway or a sidewalk or something, and just big old things. And when they threw it, of course, it falls on top of each other. It creates like a little cave or something. And so he would hide in there when they would go try to get him. They were still feeding him and giving him water. And when they would go and try to get him, he would go back up into those areas. So there was no way they could get him, He was tricky. And then this one lady, she crawled in as far as she could, and he knew exactly how far she could go. And he'd be like, 6 inches from where she could reach. And he would just sit there, sort of like laughing at her. So eventually, they caught him out in an area where, there was really hardly nowhere for him to go. They caught him one day away from that area. So he just couldn't run over and hide in that pile. And so they got him. And she took him, because she had already found the home for the other dogs. And because of the backstory of, how long it took to get him. And he was now a little wild because the vet said, once a certain age, they kind of become feral, and it's kind of, hard to bring him back. It's not always successful, in other words. And they end up, with a little wild quirkiness. So anyway, so she had him, and to try to get him adapted and get used to other animals and stuff, she'd come over and he'd visit, with our dogs. And so then I forget how it was, but a whole bunch of dogs came in and she was going to have to foster. And so she asked if we could foster, I called him the Tasmanian devil guy. So we said, okay, so we fostered him. And we were one of those fosters that failed. He ended up never leaving. And he's the little guy that puts his little paw on my knee. Now, he does have some little quirky things from when he was out in the wild, because remember, there was a big pack of dogs out there. Some of them, being his mom and dad, and others, who knows what they were, maybe uncles, aunts, I don't know what they were. But so, they all had to fight for everything. So, but he was a little guy, right? He was a puppy at the time. And so when it comes to feeding, to this day, how old is he now? He's 6 years old. And to this day, everyone will be eating, and he just stands by his dish. He won't eat. Doesn't matter how hungry he is. He won't eat until everyone else is done. And I think it's because when he was a puppy, the older ones wouldn't let him eat until they were done. And so to this day, he just sits there. He'll stand by his dish and kind of look at it, and look at the other dogs, and look at his dish, and then look at the dogs. But he won't eat. And then when they're done, he goes and he devours his food. He's a little psycho. And then one day, when he was newly with us, he hadn't been that long with us, he was there in one of the kitchen area, and the older Rottweiler, the male Rottweiler, he was laying there, and we were giving everybody like a milk bone. So I gave the Rottweiler a milk bone, and then I gave little crazy guy a milk bone, and the Rottweiler's just sitting there, with the milk bone there by his hands. And the crazy guy decides, well, if you're not eating that, maybe I can kind of try and show off and grab it. That was when he was new to the house. And he went to go do that. And the Rottweiler, my husband and I just stopped breathing for a second. The Rottweiler grabbed that little guy by the neck, pinned him down to the ground, and just held him there. Really didn't bite him, didn't do anything. He just held him down there. And the little guy's looking at us like, help me, can't you see this guy's gonna kill me? But nobody's barking, nobody was growling, nobody was moving. And we said, okay, just leave him alone, see what happens. Because we knew, the Rottweiler wasn't gonna like really, really hurt him. He was just trying to let him know who the boss was. And so, it was just a matter of seconds. He let him back up. And after that little guy, he never, ever, ever did anything to get the Rottweiler mad. And they became best buddies. He did things to this day. Now the Rottweiler, he's old, has arthritis. It's hard for him to get around. And his name is Junior. And my husband will say, "Come on, Bus, let's go walk Junior. We got to go walk Junior." And that's what he does. Everywhere Junior goes, he goes and he walks him to make sure he's okay. And he goes out. And then when Junior's coming back in, he'll walk in the house with Junior to make sure he gets on his pillow all right. He's like his old uncle. "I'll take care of you, Junior." And they're all buddies. But anyway, that's my story of the failing. Anyway, it failed. We failed miserably. And see, the lady that had originally been fostering him, she had it all set up on this website where they put the dogs that were ready to be adopted and everything. And people, it was so funny. People would want the dog. They'd see what happened was too, my husband, he kind of milked the whole thing. As all this was going on, he was posting stories and pictures and videos about capturing all of these dogs. So everybody was involved in the backstory of these animals. So when we finally got the first 3, I'm not exaggerating. There was over 100 people that wanted these dogs because they already felt invested in the dogs. So by the time, they all find their homes and all this, now they're just like, "Did you get the little one? Did you get the last one?" And we'd post pictures and show, "No, we haven't gotten him yet." And people are getting worried, and it was funny. So by the time we got him, he was like a celebrity. Everybody wanted him. And the lady that was fostering him at the time, her and my husband were the ones that was putting all this stuff on the website. And she was getting real particular about the family that was going to have them, because there was this one family that really, really wanted him, but they were going to keep him outside, and she did not want him kept outside. "I don't want him on outside. He needs to have his little house." And so anyway, so she just was not finding it at home, and that's why we ended up fostering it, because she couldn't decide on a home for this dog. So then she found somebody that maybe, and then at that point, my husband goes, "I can't give this little guy up." So that's how we got him. Another one that failed. All right, let me see how many I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Whoa, that's a big one. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Let's do just one more and make it an even 20, and then we will call it. Oh my goodness, it's going to be 4 o'clock my time. Oh dear. Yakety yak yak yak. Oh, and Deb, what are you doing up? What are all these email? My goodness, all of us do the same thing. This is really bad. I've been busy yakking and doing this. I didn't look up and see who's there. Yeah. I know, Laura, you'd have to be. It's 5 o'clock over there. What do? You normally get up at 6? And you got school today, right? For the little munchkin, for Cole? Yeah, Deb, you better go to bed. I think half the people here they fell asleep. They're just here because they're asleep. I can hear the snoring. All right. Oh, look, they heard me. They're awake. I thought my dog story put them to sleep. So anyway, you guys that are still here, be thinking of stuff because after we'll start like a little list of things that maybe you guys might want to do that I think I can fit in, you know, either one session or two sessions. And we can do a couple of different things. So at least we have a stream with a purpose instead of just, ramblings. And that you guys can learn something and do something and have something at the end. Yeah, I'm going to bed as soon as I finish this one up and clean up this little mess. When I go over there, I'm probably going to wake up the dogs. They're going to bark at me. Woo, 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 woo. I had big plans of what I was going to do today. Now I'm going to be asleep. Well, at least I do have to go to the post office for sure. A couple of things I have to get at the grocery store. I tested some new plaster stuff, so I got to see how that came out. I had to do some timing so I can time my workshop so we get everything done. Well, I do have quite a few things I got to do. And I got to figure out how I'm going to make all these little bundle stuff for my destashing. There's got to be some kind of a method to my madness so I can get it done. I just haven't quite figured that one out yet. Ooh, purple. Oops, it's a little short. I gotta fill that in with something thin. Okay. Where's my other scissors? Oh, they're there. Okay. I can't believe it. At least we got 20 of them done. All different sizes, but they're done. Some of them are a little extra longer. Oh, yeah, because that's where that one tape thing really messed up. I didn't want to waste all that. Put this over here. All this back in. Feeling like I made a dent in all this fabric. All right. That's done. Trash, trash, trash. Ooh, I got all that lit stuff. Okay, let me see if I can see anything at all that's been going on. Wow, one day a week. Night, Deb. Ugh. Yeah, Deb, we'll try to be earlier next time. Looks like Scotty's gone. Is Scotty gone? Oh, Scotty's still there. You still there, Scotty, or did you snooze? I bet you Scotty's on her comfy lounge chair. Gina, you want this tape? It's fun, huh? Okay then, ladies. Think I'm thinking when we'll do this. Maybe just next Saturday again, like we did last time. That seemed to be a good time. A lot of people were able to show up. So if you're interested in doing some kind of a journal or glue book or, whatever you want to use it for, get your cardboard. Ooh, get cardboard, get whatever types of papers you want to put in there. It doesn't matter what kind. A large needle. Some wax linen or embroidery floss, whatever you have. And what else? Some kind of a pokey tool. And if you have some kind of glue, pair of scissors, that might be all we need. Probably stuff you guys have. Yeah, so get that stuff and we'll see how far we go until we get pooped and see if we can do it in one night or in two. I think we can do it in one. All the basics, just getting it together, and then at your leisure, then you're going to figure out what you're going to put in it. I think that'll work out just fine. So, any questions before? I better put the lid on this. Oh my. Any questions before we say good night? There we go. Don't want this to dry out. This stuff costs a fortune. Yeah. Good morning. Ain't that the truth? Yuck. Okay, just that when I have one last piece of toffee. I need a small piece. You talking to me, Gina? We're going to do this next Saturday at a normal time, about 8 o'clock. I would say about 7 or 8 o'clock Central Time in the United States. I'm not sure where you are. And excuse me. And this was just, I was awake doing this, and I just wanted to see who was around. But we try to do it a little bit earlier, around 7 or 8 Central Time. And I'll put some kind of little notification somewhere, a reminder on my YouTube channel. So if you're new, oh, you're in California, good. So just go over. Let me type a little something. Just go to my channel and subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and I'll put some kind of a notice. Just go over there to where my name is, Rosemary Morris, and go to the 3 little dots, and it'll says go to my channel, and then you can subscribe. And then you'll know when we do these goofy things. I don't have a schedule, to tell you the truth. When I come on, I just do it when I feel like it. But for this doing of the journal, we're scheduling a time so that people that want to do it will know when to show up. But you can always watch the repeat. If you don't make it, it'll already be there for you to watch at your leisure. But if you're there, then, as we go along, if you have questions, then I can obviously, answer them live. That'll make it a little easier. Exactly. Planning's no fun. I don't need the pressure. I just do what I want to do when I want to do it. This is all supposed to be fun. Alrighty then. See you guys whenever. I'm sure we'll see each other at somebody else's live doing something. All right. Thank you again for keeping me company, and I will see you guys on Saturday. All righty. Have your supplies ready. Thank you for showing up. Bye-bye.